Today is December 22nd in the year 2012. I'm Karen Herman with the Archive of American Television, and it is my great pleasure today to be interviewing Lisa Kudrow. Did I say it right? No, I didn't.
Kudrow. That's right. I answered it all.
At the Montage Hotel in Beverly Hills, California. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're so excited about this.
Oh, good. My
pleasure.
pleasure.
So we are going to start right at the very beginning with, what was your name at birth?
Oh, Lisa Valerie Kudrow.
Okay. I've heard other middle names for you.
I know, Lisa Louise. And, yeah, no, it's Lisa Valerie Kudrow.
When and where were you born?
I was born July 30th, 1963, in Encino Hospital.
Is that where you grew up?
In California. Yes. Well, I grew up in Tarzana, which is the next town over.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about your parents, their names, and what they did for a living.
My parents? My father is Lee Kudrow, and he's a physician. He was a headache specialist as of 1971. He started treating and researching only headache, and became world-renowned expert in headache. So, something to be very proud of. And my mother was a travel agent until she retired. But she did other things before that, that woman in the 70s who, so anyway.
Were they both from California?
Yes. Oh, from California? No, not at all, no. My father's from Brooklyn, New York, and he came out to California when he was 17. That's where he met my mother, and then they got married when they were 18. And my mother was born in Cleveland, and then her family moved to, I think, San Diego, and then ultimately to LA.
What traits do you think you inherited from them?
Oh, well, everything. I think I feel like I'm a mixture of the two of them. My father, he's a good performer in that, he was really a fantastic lecturer, public speaker. Also he's an artist. I think to work his way through medical school, he was an artist. He would do like reproductions of things and sold those. He did a lot of things, work his way through medical school. And I don't have that kind of artistic talent at all. My sister does. And so that's sort of like performer personality, I think. But then, and my mother is, look, my mother is just like the classiest lady that I'd ever encountered, and it wasn't just me. My friends would also comment because she would never gossip. She was quiet, but just reserved and very sexy. I didn't inherit that from her. That's too bad. But anyway, but I had always aspired to be like my mother and try not to, gossip, keep my mouth shut. But it was hard because you had, one parent never kept his mouth shut, and then the other one who always kept her mouth shut.
How big was your family growing up?
5 of us, my parents, my sister, and my brother, and I'm the youngest.
Was there a lot of humor in your household?
Yes. Yeah. Everyone was really funny, except for me because I was the youngest.
So you weren't funny because
Well,
of that?
I thought I was, but, when you're 5, your jokes, they just don't land with an 11-year-old or, a 13-year-old.
What kind of kid were you?
I was very confident. I had a very happy childhood, really happy. I was just really confident and funny because I wasn't at home. And I loved school. Because I was so much younger than my brother and sister, I didn't really have playmates at home. And we didn't live in a neighborhood where there were lots of kids and sidewalks. We were sort of in the hills. And so, I had to make up a lot of games and pretend worlds for myself. I think my first playmates were the Beatles in my mind. The Beatles and I would go out and do things. Or the Monkees. Monkees and I would go out and do things and, all right, well, let's go to lunch. Come on, Monkees. Come on, the Beatles. The cat, whatever pet we had, So I loved going to school because I got to be with people.
You're a good student?
I was a good student. I mean, to me, the school part were just sort of these games that I was competitive also. So I wanted to like win, get through SRA, which was sort of, what was that? What did it stand for? It's like standardized reading something.
The color-coded boxes.
The color-coded boxes. So I wanted to like get through that and get to the last, the highest level. So I was competitive.
Did you watch a lot of TV?
Yeah, I watched a lot of TV. I mean, whatever was available. And what was great was, after school, because they had reruns of Gilligan's Island, which my brother introduced me to Gilligan's Island, and I was just so happy to be watching TV with him, But that was hilarious. And my sister liked Father Knows Best, so I'd watch that with her. Those reruns, because I wasn't alive when they first aired. And I mean, I mostly saw reruns of things like Bewitched.
Was there one that you loved, a show that you just really, really loved that you would not miss for anything?
You mean on at night?
No, just your favorite show.
Well, when I was older, Mary Tyler Moore and Bob Newhart, couldn't miss that. All in the Family, I couldn't miss those ever. Yeah.
Did you know what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Well, yeah, when I was little, I wanted to be an actress. Definitely.
And did you often act as a child in anything in school?
Yes. I mean, from nursery school, because I was lucky enough to get to go to nursery school, and they played this, they would play albums during nap time because not everyone slept. I didn't. And that was the best. They played Alice in Wonderland, and I would come home and recite the entire thing. I don't know who had the patience to listen to me, but I'd stand up on the fireplace. Down, 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 Alice went, So, that I really loved attention.
Did you try out for the school plays and do theater as well?
In elementary school, there weren't really school plays. There was, in the summer, I took a class, like a, play. I went to summer school if I wasn't going to camp. And I never went away to camp because I didn't like leaving home. But I would go to summer school because, again, it was a chance to be with other kids. And there was one sort of like drama one. And this teacher who I had had for fifth grade, so this must have been after fifth grade, she hated me in fifth grade. It was the only teacher who hated me. I sort of was very proud of the fact that all teachers love me and all adults love me. And she hated me, and I couldn't figure out why. I thought, well, she's just nuts. There's something wrong with her. But then that summer, I was in her drama class, and she loved me. She fell madly in love with me.
What do you think why did she hate you to start with?
I don't know. I think there was something going on with her, and, I don't know. I think sometimes I was really a confident kid, which I think can border on obnoxious. So while I don't remember feeling obnoxious or hearing that I was obnoxious, it just may have rubbed her the wrong way. So I don't know. But I won her over, so that was good.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to William Howard Taft in Woodland Hills.
And you continue performing?
No. I did in junior high school. In junior high school, it was very hard because at one point in seventh grade, I had like two friends, and they dropped me, so I went from two to none. No, I did have one friend. And the only way I could sort of climb out of that, because junior high, that's just so rough anyway. And in the summer, I did it was called play production, so another drama class in the summer. And so I was able to make new friends there. And I did, then in school, I chose to take play production. And that teacher was also like, oh, you're fantastic. We would write sketches. And I loved doing that, writing sketches and, satires on Family Affair. I loved Family Affair. Those were in repeats when I was in junior high. Okay. And it was really fun, and doing lip syncs and stuff. And I would go to slumber parties before that, when I was young, and feel like I was gearing up for a gig, in my mind. It was like, okay, you're going to make a lot of friends tonight because you're just going to be really good. And you're going to get everyone, we're all going to do lip syncs. And I don't know why. I was like the cruise director. No one asked me to. Maybe that's why I became so unpopular in junior high. But anyway, so junior high did help. I mean, the play production, the sketch writing, and the comedy stuff, it did, help me get sort of a new identity.
But then you said in high school that you weren't
at all. Nothing. None of it in high school. In high school, I decided, I don't know, that's when I started thinking about what kind of adult am I going to be. And I chose, I really loved biology. I was taking, biology. I think I took an honors biology class, too. And I really loved it, and I thought, okay, so I'll be a doctor, like my father. And my brother was headed toward medical school. And I thought, yeah, that's good. That's the kind of mom I think your kids will be proud of. So that was really the motivation.
Was it kind of a respectability kind of thing?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I saw some movie. I can't remember which one it was, and they made a joke. Oh, it was, my favorite year. And they made a joke. There was some, dinner party, some Manhattan dinner party, everyone in tuxedos, and one of them said, I think the actor, Alan Swan, is he just they saw him go down a window, he's beneath us. And the other person says, of course he's beneath us, he's an actor. And it stuck in my head. I went, oh, okay, yeah, so don't do that. You don't want to be that.
Were all your friends that you grew up with saying, oh, what happened to Lisa, cruise director Lisa, or were you still that person?
No, they weren't. They really weren't. I wasn't on all the time. I mean, I wasn't that kind of, I wasn't like a theater drama person at all. I mean, I just started concentrating on school. I always did well in school. And I was just focused on continuing to do well and then getting into college. And I really decided that I needed to be on the East Coast because, the high school was good, but a lot of the kids in my high school would wake up at 4 a.m. to go to the beach and go surfing and then come to school and, check that off their list and then go back to the beach. School was sort of getting in the way of their surfing. And that I didn't see where that would ever get me. I was just thinking very long term. Obviously, what kind of I want to be respectable to my kids, so that's a little nutty. Not a typical teenager. So I was really thinking about, what path, what my next steps were. And my friends in high school were the ones that were really focused on, all right, what college do we want to go to? And where, figuring that out. So.
And where did you end up?
I ended up going to Vassar College, and I was thrilled to get in. Really thrilled. I don't know how I got in, to be honest with you, because my SAT scores weren't great, like 1150, and at my high school though there were very smart kids at my high school that they were much smarter than I was and better students, and I didn't take any AP classes. I didn't even know what that meant. There was no guidance from parents or college counselors, nothing. The college counselor was just the person you said, listen, I'm applying to these schools, you need to send the transcripts. That's really all they were. And I didn't know. I applied to Harvard, why not? I mean, I applied to all these schools that I just had no business applying to, I think. And Vassar was one of them. And I think Vassar asked for a writing sample. And I had decided, well, I wrote an essay on the application, so to me that's a writing sample. It's extra work. I'm not going to do it. That was the first school I heard from. I think they thought I was someone else. I don't know. There's a mistake. I know there's a mistake in there. Although I did take community college classes when I was in high school, so maybe that had something to do with it. But anyway.
So you majored in biology? Is that right?
Yes, and then I was a biology major. Yeah, my plan was, take pre-med courses and then go to medical school. Sometime after sophomore year, no, it was organic chemistry. Yeah, I did fine the first semester, and then the second semester, there was a different teacher, and it was all just chaos and randomness to me, organic chemistry, like what happens when, this collides with this, and what do you get? It's like anything, I don't know, you could lose how many electrons it can turn it, I don't know, what? It just seemed to, I couldn't figure it out. And, but I had also been thinking, I don't think I really want to practice medicine. I think I'm really much more interested in, these areas of evolution, and that's what I'd like to study. And so I had long talks with my father and my brother. My brother was now in medical school in Israel, so I didn't get to see him much. And I talked to both of them, and they both said, yeah, don't go to medical school. You don't need to do that. It's a lot of work. It's an excessive amount of work for I'm not sure what reason. And if you aren't sure that you want to actually be a physician and practice medicine, then really don't put yourself through that. Great. I dropped organic chemistry and was able to focus more on, the upper level biology classes that I was interested in. So,
what did you do after you graduated?
After I graduated, I worked for my father, who was doing research. So I was interested at the time. It was called neuropsychopharmacology. I was interested in that because I was interested in the evolution of behavior, the evolution of brain chemistry and, brain anatomy. Like how did that evolve then, So I was interested in that, and my father, his research in headache bumped into some of that. And so I went to work with him specifically to author a paper that he suggested we could do together, which was studying hemispheric dominance and headache types. So that was my plan. Good. So I'll be published, and then that will help me get into a really great graduate program. So let's see. I graduated in May, and then I think by the end of the summer, I had decided, oh no, I should try acting.
Why did you decide that? Is it just out of the blue, or did something spark it?
Well, parts of it are out of the blue. I mean, I think what led up to it was, my senior year, whenever I'd be home on break, I'd be driving around, and I would hear on the radio commercials for sitcoms. And, of course, they wanted to show off their best joke, and I'd be listening to it, and then I would this thought would pop into my head, God, punching that joke so hard. Just throw it away. Lisa, remember to throw it away. It'll be funnier. And honestly, the next thought I had was, this has nothing to do with you. What? Throw it away. What advice is that for yourself? You're going to be a, biology researcher. This has nothing to do with, your path. And it kept happening. Like the instinct was, okay, remember to do it this way when you do it. It was always when you're doing it. So, yeah, I just kept trying to shove that away because I was like, remember your kids? You're not going to be that. You're not going to be an actor. And then my brother's best friend growing up is John Lovitz. And I knew that he, was studying acting in college and then afterwards struggling. Actors struggle to get work. But he got on Saturday Night Live that summer. And I realized, oh my God, so this is something that actually can work out for real people. It's not just, like I always assumed these people, there was some secret, there was some mystical something, or just some unknowable truth about becoming a successful actor. But I knew John, And he just kept working at it and plugging away at it. And, okay, so maybe it is possible. It really inspired me to allow myself to consider it also as even a possibility. And the practical part of me, thank God, the person that could think down the road said, you're only 22. You don't have a mortgage. You don't have children. You have no responsibilities. No one's depending on you for anything. This is exactly the time that you go after this kind of dream. And if it doesn't work out, okay, you can catch up on what's happening in evolutionary biology. That's what you need to do right now. So I did.
Did you talk to people about this?
My parents.
What do they think?
Fantastic. When do you start?
Really?
Yes. I mean, look, I was kind of a serious teenager. I was pretty serious. And in college, I was pretty serious. And I think they thought I was too serious. And I know for my mom and my dad, part of their concern was, she's not light and flirty, and who's going to, not marry her, but how is she ever going to attract anybody? Because she's not flirty. She needs to lighten up. And I think they saw this as, oh my God, thank God, yes, go right now. We'll drive you to, what do you need? Otherwise, you're going to die alone. They didn't say that, but I think that was the concern.
So back then, were you? I mean, right now, you're bubbly and vivacious. I mean, is this not who you were at that point?
I don't remember. I'd have to think about it. No, I was fun. I was funny in college. I get defensive. Maybe just like if you have me next to my sister, and we look a lot alike, except she is very attractive. My sister is just like light and fun, and she's just more attractive. I don't know how else to put it. And yeah, boys, I mean, it was like bees to honey, She was really good at that. She's flirty and just fantastic. And to me, flirtatious behavior was just too obvious and embarrassing, and it's so fake. And oh my God, it was it was something that was really hard for me to do. So, but I did have a boyfriend. I mean, in college, I had boyfriends. Yeah, but anyway, I think my parents were really thrilled that I was going to do something, maybe lighten up.
And how did you go about that? Did you talk to John at all? Or?
I talked to John. And John Lovitz said, oh, great. Sort of like, I have you back. Because in junior high, he was thrilled, because we both were actors. He was so wonderfully supportive, It was just, good for you. That's great. Okay, go to the Groundlings. He said, look, I studied in college. I've been to acting teachers. Don't do any of that. The most I ever learned was at the Groundlings, learning improvisation. It was fantastic. Just go there, okay? Tell them I said, you should call. Okay. It's such a big deal for me anyway, like making that call. Okay, I'm going to call the Groundlings right now. And they said no. They actually said, when's the last time you performed? This is just to take their classes, by the way. When's the last time you performed? And I said, I think I was in 9th grade. And they went, great. We're going to give you a name. Her name's Cynthia Seghetti, and she teaches classes, and she'll get you started. And then, after a certain point, you come back here and take our classes. Oh, okay. So, Cynthia Seghetti, of course, sure, this is when the classes are, and that was the best thing that ever happened. I think on so many levels was Cynthia Seghetti, I have to say. She spoke to me in a way that no one else could have, because I wasn't going to be okay with sort of like a touchy-feely and everyone just like moan or, like crazy acting exercise things. there's no time in improv to work up to an emotion, okay? You gotta just have it. So just have it. It's all pretend anyway. Have it, you know? And I loved that. But, you know, the initial exercises in the first class were, okay, now everyone stand in a circle and now lift, everyone work together, you're gonna lift a disc. Okay. And there were a lot of actors in that class. And so everyone's, you know, lifting a disc and they're just making a big meal out of it, and I found the whole thing really embarrassing. And Cynthia's there, you know, like, go for it, come on, lift it. Doesn't look like you're lifting a disc. I'm like, oh God. Or throw a space ball. And everyone's sort of like making a meal out of it again, and I thought, oh, it's so embarrassing. I mean, oh my God, I can't do it. I don't think I can do this. I think I'm out. And I was deciding whether or not to return to the class. I wasn't even going to go to the second class, and then I just do it anyway. And I was late because I wasn't even sure I wanted to be there. And I walk in, and they're already up on the stage. And she's like, do you want to join them, or are you going to sit? I said, I'll sit it out. Yeah, I'll sit this out. Ugh, watch these people make fools of themselves. Yeah, I don't think I'll join them right now. And they were, like, throwing space balls around, and I was like, oh, yeah, I think I'm done. And then one guy who wasn't there the first week, he was a new guy, was, like, throwing the space ball, but he wasn't making a fool of himself. He was just pretending to have a ball and throwing it. And I thought, oh, like that's when the penny dropped. That's what she's talking about, commitment, because she would always yell like, commit, commit. It's like, oh, that's what commitment is. You're just really honestly throwing a space ball. It's not like the whole play, you know. You're not making too much out of it. And that's full commitment. And that's the only time it's not going to be embarrassing is when you're fully committed. And that's when I understood, and I thought, okay, so he gets it. I need to stick with him. I need to pay attention to this guy because he knows what he's doing. And so I did. I became friends with him, and we stayed friends forever. And and it was Conan O'Brien, by the way. So good eye, huh? Good eye. So he's sort of what kept me in class. He's why I didn't quit after the first class, because I got to see what doing it really well was. So I just, kept my eye on him, stuck close to him.
Now, how did that lead back then to the Groundlings?
Okay, so, and then Cynthia, thought we were great, and she was thrilled, like, oh my God, you guys are both smart, and that's great, and you have a lot of information, and you need information for improv, and so go, don't even audition for beginning, you should audition for intermediate. You don't need beginning, audition for intermediate. And so we both went together to the audition for intermediate, and then we went immediately back to see her. How did it go? Well, we think it went okay. We were really excited, and we didn't get in to intermediate. We had to take beginning, and I'm not sure why we didn't, but oh well. So we had our, we started the program. We both started at the same time.
Was Conan then the same way he is today?
Funny? Yeah, Conan was funny. Hilarious. Yeah, hilarious and smart and self-deprecating and the same. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he was the exact same. He might think differently, but yeah.
And how was the experience of actually being in the Groundlings?
Being in the Groundling classes, that was really valuable. Because they're also pushing you, but no one pushed like Cynthia Seghetti. That was the most important teacher I ever had, because she's the one who really pushed. Because she was fearless. She wasn't afraid of hurting your feelings, or she was like, stop, oh, it's horrible, no, I can't, It was so good. It was just honest, and I can deal with honest. I can't, it's hard for me if I have to read between lines, So it was really great to have her be so direct. And there were some great teachers at the Groundlings, too. really great teachers. And their style of teaching is really good because it's pretty nurturing. It's pretty accepting. You've got to make people feel safe enough to take risks. And, you know, I think I learned so much from the Groundlings, and it wasn't just the improvisation, but as I got in the mindset of what improvisation was, I understood, like, forget acting. That's what you need for life. You have to really listen and really respond to what's been said. You know, that was really, really important. And then the mindset of whatever is said, it's okay. Whatever is said is okay. It's fine. It's good. It's good, whatever is said, because that's, you know, how you're creating this world and the scene and the characters, and you have to take it all in as truth. And that also helped a lot, I think, just for interacting with people, coping with auditions, be in the mindset of it's fine if they're eating lunch while you're auditioning. That's a good thing. You'll figure out why later. But just decide that it's a good thing, because you know, anything that makes you feel like, ugh, you can't seize up, you know, for acting and for auditioning and doing your best. So I thought that was a really, really helpful mindset, period. I ramble. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, this is what we're looking for.
Oh, okay. All right. And then you get to the writing levels. That was the most important part of the Groundlings for me. And they had this, what was it called? I don't remember even what it was called. It was like character monologues. It's before the advanced level, and so they had this one writing level where you're only writing character monologues. And then at the end of that course, you perform 2 character monologues, and then that's when they decide whether you can move into the advanced class. And that was a turning point for me. Not even a turning point. It was just a huge boost for me. The teacher was Tracy Newman, who had been a Groundling for a long time. Her sister is Lorraine Newman. And Tracy was a fantastic teacher. Tracy also, you know, was writing partners way after that with Jonathan Stark, and they won an Emmy for Ellen, for the episode of Ellen, I think, the coming out episode, I think. Anyway, Tracy was fantastic because she was also just very matter of fact. That's what I loved about Groundlings, that it was, you know, when your work's getting critiqued, it's not personal, ever. The assumption is, no, you're good and you can do it, but this wasn't as funny as you can be, and this wasn't good, and this didn't make sense, and I loved that. And so I loved her, and, you know, I did a character monologue. I did a biology professor. So I started with what I knew. And this biology professor. And to me, what was just so funny about it was a composite of the teachers I'd had, you know, in college. And, you know, what was funny about them was that they just didn't know how unfunny they were, how out of it they were, and they try to make jokes, and, you know, it's not funny. Or to them, what's funny is something so inside that even the students in the class, you know, wouldn't know to laugh. And so that was very fun. And then she was saying, okay, look, what people want to see from you is you do these smart characters and you do this stuff a lot, but we've never seen a dumb character from you. And we need to see a dumb character. We need to see an airhead. Just go for it. We need to see that. Because I was really resistant, and I would never play a dumb character. So I did this, all right, I drew from, I mean, I knew plenty of them in high school, that's for sure. So I did someone, you know, not one, again, it's a composite of girls from high school on spring break in Palm Springs, where they're just like getting drunk somewhere. I don't know where I woke up, you know, I just like woke up as if, isn't that cool? It's so funny and good. And so when I did the biology professor, that was my first performance as an adult in a theater with an audience, 99-seat theater. And that was the first performance I'd ever had. And it was it was unbelievable. It was like this otherworldly experience to me. Because I remember really clearly being out there and doing my monologue, but feeling like I was connected to the audience on I don't know what level it is, where I could anticipate milliseconds before, like how they were going to react and how to alter my performance to pull them this way or pull them that way, or I don't know, or given how they did react, which was a surprise, how to use that and turn it into this. Or it's hard to be articulate about this, but part of me was with them. It wasn't with me. It was with them. And it was a crazy, it was really something. And I think I slept for 3 days after that. Not slept, I was in bed. I was spent. And I thought, oh, you actually can't do that again because you won't survive. I don't know, you can't survive. I was sapped. I was completely drained and sapped and in bed. And it wasn't just the performance, it was after the performance when people were, oh my God, that was unbelievable. That was like blown away by that biology professor monologue. And people that I had a lot of respect for, you know. I didn't know they would be at the performance. They were like former groundlings, and, you know, turned out Jonathan Stark had been there. And he's, you know, just this really revered improvisation actor. There was a group called Instaplay, Bill and Sherry Steinkellner, Billy Steinkellner did, that I'd only heard about. They were sort of legendary. And Jonathan Stark was always in Instaplay, so he's like, you know, this improviser and just brilliant guy that I didn't know yet. I did later, we became friends, but he saw it too. And I don't know, I was like soaking up everybody's praise, like soaking it up. And that was also exhausting. I didn't know it at the time. I was just like soaking it up and just flying around in my head, you know. But I think that also contributed to like having to take to the bed for 3 days. It was like I was sick, like a flu. No energy, nothing, sapped. And again, I'll repeat. I thought, you can't do that ever again. So you can't take in all the praise that you get, and you can't, I don't think you could give that much either in a performance, because if you're going to do it regularly, you won't survive. You can't do it. So, but I don't know whether that's right or wrong. I just remember thinking that.
That you wanted to get up on stage again?
Well, yeah. Well, that was the other thing. Let's see if you can do it if you're not giving that much, you know. So, yeah, I mean, I got away with giving less, which kind of makes me feel bad to say out loud, but yeah. Anyway, so I got to move up in the Groundlings, but that was sort of it was a turning point. And then when I met with Tracy afterwards, she said, well, you know what? I mean, I don't know what to say. I thought either she's great and brilliant or she's just awful. But either way, you must be really fucked up. I mean, you just must be really fucked up. And I just smiling at her like, mm-hmm. What? No, I'm not. Normal childhood. What? So that's the other thing that made an impression, that I had to be really fucked up. I'm not. I mean, you can think so. What? I don't know. Anyway.
Now, were you doing this full time, or were you still working?
You have to work. Groundlings, the classes were only at night, so, you know. No, we're still working for my dad. I wasn't doing research anymore. I was just running his front office. So I worked there for like 8 or 10 years. I could figure it out if I took the time, but.
And talk about your professional start.
Well, through Groundlings. The first thing was, I think, I don't know if I was in advanced class or Sunday company, but so Tracy Newman, that teacher, recommended to another former Groundling, Robin Schiff, who was a writer. Robin Schiff wrote a play called Ladies' Room, and she was going to have backers auditions. And so there was an audition for the backers auditions, and she's supportive of Groundlings, so she was going to use Groundling girls for this show. And Tracy Newman recommended me. So I went, that was my first audition. And I went I don't remember, someone's house, the director, Kim Friedman, who's like a real director. She worked a lot for, Aaron Spelling, she did a lot of those shows. Yeah, so it was at her house, and I don't know, it was really quick. It was just these girls that come in and out of a ladies' room. They were called like the airheads, And I just thought, okay, well, that'll be funny. If I just like Me Too, remember those girls who would get really excited, like we have something in common, and the Me Too is just a little over the top, and okay, yeah, just do that. And so they said, oh, great, that's hilarious, good. So I won. I got the, not job, but I got to be in the backers audition for this play. So they had a few backers auditions, and one of them was for Aaron Spelling to be the backer of this play. And so he did, and I was lucky enough, I think I had to audition again. I got cast in the play, Ladies' Room, which was at the Tiffany Theater, which was the nicest of the equity waiver theaters. And so it was me and this girl, Christy Meller, and we had these roles. She was Romy and I was Michelle in the play Ladies' Room. And, we'd just run in and out of the Ladies' Room, our scenes. I don't think we were on stage more than 5 minutes, add it all up in the whole play. So that was my first audition and my first job.
Did you ever think that it was going to turn into later a big part of your...
Never. I mean, absolutely never. Never. No. No, really, I didn't at all. They tried to do a pilot because no matter how the play was, going that night, these two characters got laughs every time. So, Aaron Spelling, Kim, Robin, they all decided, like, this would be, let's see if we can do a pilot. So, and Christy and I got to play Romy and Michelle in the pilot. And so we did. We shot a pilot, and it was sort of crazy. I mean, I think it was crazy. Was I in the Sunday Company yet at the Groundlings? I don't know. But, of course, it didn't get picked up, and it was a good experience. And I remember Kim Friedman coming to me after we spent, like, too much time shooting the opening credits, and it was just exhausting. And she said, I'm concerned about your stamina. Like, right, okay. And I'm thinking, well, it's probably still drained from that first night when I did that character monologue. Yeah, so she was concerned about my stamina.
That was your first time in front of the camera?
I'm trying to remember. No, wait. A lot happened around the same time. I was in a movie, Sandra Locke directed a movie, Teresa Russell. And I auditioned, and it was a serious part. I was like a heroin addict. And I got the part, and that was my first, film job on a film. I was a heroin addict. My God. Because casting people came to see Ladies' Room. I mean, what was great was there were a lot of industry people coming to see Ladies' Room. So that's how I got that audition. Crazy. And it got cut from the movie altogether, so no one ever saw it. But wow. And then, Billy and Sherry Steinkellner thought I was really funny in Ladies' Room, and I was a guest star on Cheers. So that was my first guest star.
That was your first?
Cheers.
Wow.
Pretty good. I know, I was really proud. Yeah, I think, and then we shot the pilot, because I remember, with the Taft-Hartley and all of that, trying to get into SAG. I think it was around those two, the movie and Cheers.
Now, did you have an agent before Cheers?
No, wait a minute. Maybe the pilot was happening. I don't remember the timing of it all. But I think because I already had a pilot that was barely enough, to get me an agent. But I think with the pilot happening in the works and then the movie and Cheers, yes, I finally got an agent.
Okay. And talk a little about that Cheers episode. It was Two Girls for Every Boy was the name of it.
Uh-huh. Right. To me, it's Our Town. It's the Our Town one. And I played Emily, the actress who was playing Emily in Our Town. Right. Yeah, my stuff was all with Woody.
And that was a huge show at the time.
I know. It was huge. It was huge. And I was, just nervous. I didn't want to get in anyone's way. And And it was hard. You know, I didn't realize, but, and also, by the way, that's a really nice, well, no, I'll come to it later. All right. I was taking a class, because through Ladies Room I met Nana Visitor, and she was fantastic. I admired her just as an actress, and, you know, she played, you know, one of the main roles in Ladies Room. But she was sexy and strong, and she was, I was in awe of her. And her brother, Ian Tucker, had an acting class, and so I was lucky enough to start going to that. And it wasn't really an acting class, it was sort of like it was an acting class, but it was all cold reading. You don't prepare, there's no scene study. So his class was about coping with working in TV and film and auditioning for TV and film. That's what the class was about. It was assumed you can act or you can't act. It kind of doesn't make a difference if you want to work, to be honest. Just look at who's on TV and, you know. He said, but, you know, he was really making us focus on, this is a business, this career, you know, that you've chosen. It's not just art. There's business too. So to get too caught up in they were eating while I was auditioning, and they were being rude, and then they were talking, and he said, you know, you have to really assume that they know what they're doing. And if they're being rude to you or talking, then maybe, you know, the star of the show that you're auditioning to work with is a really tricky guy. And maybe he won't be there on the other, you know, for when it's your close-up, because he's got to go home because they can't, you know, they don't want to keep him overtime, and then, right? And, you know, and maybe he's going to be really mean to you, and so they just want to see who can cope. Let's see who can cope so we can get this show done. You never know why they're doing what they're doing. What you need to know is they're all hoping that everyone who walks through that door is going to be great. That's what they're hoping. So it was a fantastic class. It really was. So knowing that, you know, I went to Cheers and I had heard, oh, that's a nice set. Like, those actors are nice. And they were really nice. But, you know, there was also, and I know Woody Harrelson now, and he's fantastic. But he was going through a little something at that time, I think, where it was sort of like, God, you know, can't I grow my hair long? You know, for actors, as lucky as they know they are to have the job they have, sometimes they just feel a little stuck, you know, after however many years it is. And this show sort of owns you. It's just such a weird thing. It goes against everything about an actor, you know, sort of nomadic, and it's all about novelty and new, and I can try on this person and be that person. And then your one wish is, oh, wouldn't it be great to earn a living at this and to be at a steady, regular, and then you get it, and it's a really interesting thing. So I think he was going through that moment of, you know, oh, God, can't I grow my hair? Like, no, Woody's hair is not long, you know. And so I felt like it was just kind of hard, like, oh, God, okay, so he's really unhappy, you know. But it was fine. It was all really fine. But that was just interesting to see, too, just to be able to witness, you know, the different, everyone's attitude on the show.
Did you see that later when you were on a long-running show as well? Did you see that happening, you know, in front of you as well, or even to you?
A little bit to me, a version of it, where for me it was, like, I remember coming in August, you know, when we'd start up again, like, well, I don't know how to do this character anymore. Like, why is this so hard? This doesn't feel right. What's going on? And LeBlanc, like, listen, you know what? You've got the characters in here. You've been doing them for how many years? If you're doing it for how many years, why don't you just stop making trouble? Maybe it's not hard anymore, you know? Maybe you do just have it down. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's right. I was just sort of making trouble, you know, like wondering, you know, where's I don't know, like looking for the challenge when, no, there doesn't have to be. You do know the character, and they know how to write for the character. It's weird, I don't know. I don't think I'm being clear. But not that bratty, you know, any of us, because I think we all knew also, like I was saying, everyone knows, like, but this is what I wanted to do for so long. It's like it's something to be proud of, and everyone loves this show, and it's, but it's this weird sort of like war with the nomad. I'm not a nomad, by the way. I mean, I do love a schedule, so that wasn't it for me, but I did notice it in certain other actors, and I think at the time, that was true for Woody. I feel a little bad because, well, he's not talking about this. It's not not my story, but I kept wondering when I was on Cheers, like, am I doing something wrong? Because he seemed so unhappy. Like, it's because I'm really bad, and he's wondering why he's working with this, like, this newbie. Ugh, that stuff you do to torture yourself. But it really, whether it had anything to do with me or not, it was like the expiration date for an actor with a role. I think he was sort of like grappling with that. It had nothing to do with me.
And what was it like, though, when so you're on Cheers and the show airs? What was that like for you? And did that up your, did everyone now know who you were?
I don't think everyone now knew who I was. I'm not sure. I don't remember that. But I remember just feeling like, great, okay, so that's a great, by the way, as you're building a resume, it says Cheers and this Teresa Russell movie and a pilot. Oh my God, that's fantastic. That was really thrilling. But it did concern me, like, it stayed with me a while. The reason I had to bring up, the Woody thing was like, uh-oh. It's like, maybe you're not that good. So I was really nervous about watching it, and I was not that great, So, yeah.
And right around that time, too, you auditioned for Saturday Night Live.
Was it around that time?
I have 1990.
Yeah, I don't know. Whenever Julia Sweeney, got on, that was that same audition thing. Yeah, because Lorraine Newman had said, listen, I'm talking to Lorne Michaels about you, and because you should be on that show. I mean, you do great characters, and you should be on that show. And so, what I understood was Lorne Michaels was coming to the Groundlings to watch me and Julia. And then I guess also Kathy Griffin, I think it was mostly watching Julia, there to see Julia, though, and, yeah, so, But no, of course he picked Julia, and not me. The thing about my characters, that I did at the Groundlings is they weren't the big crowd pleasers. They really weren't. The stuff I was doing was just a little more, it wasn't as broad. I don't mean like Julia's was so broad, but, I didn't know how to go, like, too far outside of myself, or, I liked, oh my gosh, I don't know. I mean, I think I even did that biology professor, but that's not like a big Saturday Night Live character, I think I did this other one, Your Favorite Actress on a Talk Show. That was just me making fun of, actresses on talk shows and actors who are really phony, like they're to talk about their, this cause that they're really impassioned about. And it's, stuff that's obvious, like let's, as a favor to me, let's save the planet, as if they wield so much power, and I wanted to make fun of that. But that doesn't make it a Saturday Night Live sketch either, So, yeah, I mean, of course.
Yeah, but then 6 years later, you're hosting.
Right, because of Friends. And, I don't think I was a great host either. I remember Anna Gasteyer, who, was in Groundlings, wanted to do this one sketch, and I thought, oh, it's too low-key for Saturday Night Live. It was like the FM DJ that then she went on to do forever. I was like, oh, well, I don't know. I can't pull that off, I don't think. I have no clue, like, what works and what doesn't. At least I was smart enough to just say to Lorne Michaels, like, well, you're going to pick all the sketches. You've been doing this forever. So, it's sweet of you to say that I can weigh in. But, And what
was that experience like? I mean, doing live performance like that on TV?
Well, The live performance part of it, there's something like, to me it felt like you're on this train and it's going really like too fast and toward a brick wall. And that's just what it is, you know. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. It's going to smash. It's just going to all smash up. But you just do the best you can, because I just felt like, oh my God, they have no time at all to get these sketches ready. It just won't, how can it possibly be good? Oh no. Oh my God. It just seemed crazy. And then you're up all night working on things. Like, no, you don't have good ideas at 3 a.m. I don't. Too tired. Oh my God. It just, the whole thing felt like, I don't know how this could possibly work. Oh.
Do you have a favorite moment from that show?
I don't remember.
Train was going too fast.
It was going fast. But I know I loved Tom, you know, the wardrobe designer, the costume designer for that show. He's like a genius, and I got to work with him again. Yeah, oh my God, I couldn't believe, I loved my clothes. I loved the clothes I got.
Okay, well,
it wasn't a nightmare. Everyone was nice. I mean, I remember the stories of everyone being, you know, really competitive, and it's like a snake pit over there, and it wasn't. Everyone was nice, because you had Will Ferrell and Sherry O'Terry and Anna. Like, I knew some of these people, and they were great. Yeah.
Okay, going back where we were, you were on a historic Newhart episode.
Oh
the
my
last one.
God, that's right. Yes, that's right. Yeah, I was on the series finale of the Newhart series. That was really thrilling. Larry, Daryl, and Daryl? I was, Christy Meller and I, Romy and Michelle, we played 2 of the wives. You know, Daryl and, you know, we were the wives of Daryl and Daryl. That was so thrilling. Because Suzanne Plachette, that was the big surprise. So, oh my God.
Did you know it was going to happen? Because I know it was pretty close. It was a pretty good secret at the time.
Well, I mean, I saw her there, and that was just thrilling to meet her. By the way, you know, that was, oh my gosh, yeah. So
you saw her just sneaking in, because I know they had her.
I know what. Maybe it was afterward that I got to talk to her, and I'm just getting it all confused, you know. But I thought, like, we broke for a meal. You know what? I don't know. I don't remember whether I knew before they shot it or not. Yes. I don't remember.
Okay, let's stop here.